Yeah, but Easy Max takes a minute.
Yeah, like you can assemble it.
Jenny, are we ready? Okay. All right, we're gonna call to order the June Parks Commission meeting. Start out with the roll call, please.
Turner,
Here.
Converse. Here. TeNapel,
Here.
McCann,
Here.
Jablonski,
Here.
Halen,
Here.
Page.
Here.
Okay, next item is to approve of the minutes for last meeting in March. We have a motion.
I'll motion to approve. I'll second it.
All right. Public comments? Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now public comments. Nothing? Okay. So I guess we have a presentation by the Friends of the Park.
Hi, Justin Vogel with the Polk City Friends of the Park Group, just to give you a quick update on some of our successes and things we have upcoming. So in early 2024, we raised $8,000 and fundraised for the ice skating rink that was set up at Kiwanis Park. Jason can probably attest that he enjoyed it and probably doubled his workload through that time period. He was out there all the time, so did a great job and a lot of public support and a lot of use. And so I think we're pretty proud of that one and appreciate Jason keeping that up for us. April 2025, we're able to, the completion of fundraising for the Miller Park Tennis Court resurfacing project is done. So we raised over $40,000 in 2024 and early 2025. And it was originally installed in 1980 and then resurfaced about 10 years ago with the surface that's on there now. So I think next week, is that kind of the latest? We're looking for the contractor to move in, do some demo and fix cracks and overlay and paint, anticipating that about a week or so. Is that what they're looking at? So pretty excited. I know that I've seen a lot of use up there currently, and I think this will just really help that. So then the next kind of new event we're looking at doing is a Brews in the Barn. It'll be out at the Beckley Barn. Date is September 18th. Kind of details in the works, but we're gonna have transportation from Polk City out to the location. Gonna include live music, beer, dinner, and an auction. So that's kind of, we're gonna use that money and put it towards the square playground. So also excited about that as that park gets a lot of use and could use a little bit of a makeover. So you'll see more of this, I think, on social media and at the farmer's market, be pushing it. So $50 a ticket per person. Then we also have several other small projects going on, such as, mostly shade structures and things like that at parks around town. Is there anything you wanted to say on that one? No?
Discuss that when I come up there.
Okay. And then just, curious as we keep fundraising and look at our next priorities, if there's anything you guys as a commission have as priorities out there that you would like to see accomplished. We try and balance between large projects and small projects and fit the needs of the parks, so.
I don't know, Jason, is there a wish list that you have? I'm sure there is, but.
Yeah, I've certainly got a staff wish list, but, want this, commission to, be able to voice their opinions too.
Yeah, so if there's anything off the top of your head, we can take that, or if you wanna think about it and look around and maybe give the feedback back through Jason or whatever, we'd greatly appreciate it, so.
What's good contact for the Friends of the Park?
Is Jess, do you wanna go through?
Yep, yeah, it would be president@polkcityfriendsoftheparks.com.
That'd be Jess Fow currently, so.
So they're not gonna do a bike ride this year?
Yeah, we've kind of alternated between like a 5K and a bike ride and just, we're trying to find, maybe less events with a bigger bang for the buck and the bigger impact for the community, so. Trying something different that we've seen in other communities and.
Okay.
You're a fan of the bike ride?
Well, kinda am, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Likewise.
I did hear rumblings that somebody might be taking it over.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so more to come.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the Marina Cove shade structure.
I'm gonna share my screen with you guys, so you should see that pop up in front of you here momentarily. All right, are we good?
Yep, there we go.
All right, perfect. We're starting to come through. Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, as Justin just mentioned, the Friends Group is looking at some smaller projects, kind of $10,000 or less. And one that they've really kind of narrowed in on, and have asked me a lot of questions about would be some sort of shade structure at Marina Cove. For anybody that's familiar with the Marina Cove Park, you know, it all revolves around that water detention pond, a through trail, and then on the northeast part of the park, we have the modern play structure. There's not much shade around that play structure whatsoever. So they did kind of ask me to just kind of look at the park, see what might work, and just based on the park itself, we're gonna be looking at a very particular type of shade structure. And so what I'm showing you guys right now is called a single post cantilever shade structure. So the support comes from off the side, not like what we have at Leonard Park where we have the 4 hip posts. So this is kind of the concept that we're looking at for Marina Cove Park. Of the play structure, just southwest of it, there is a small square concrete pad that we're looking to shade that area. It's where the 2 benches currently are. I apologize for the crudity of this picture, but the little pin drop is where I would propose we put that, well, the one post of the cantilever system, having the shade out over that. And then, again, my apologies, I'm not a design whiz, but that's our attempt at showing what it might look like at that location. So I think that is the right shade structure for that park, given what it is. I've had brief conversations with the neighbors to the east of the play structure that might be in their view of the pond. Nobody is opposed. They know, they see moms that are just sweating watching their kids play. So it'll definitely get good use. Staff did collect some competitive quotes, and staff's recommendation would be, if we were to move forward, Boland Recreation out of Marshalltown has given the best quotes. I do have different dimensions. I would certainly want to see what would work best there. I did get quotes for a 12 by 12, a 14 by 14, and a 16 by 16. Kind of looking at the 14 or the 16 at this point. But yeah, the difference there, 9,500 for the 14 by 14, 10,000 for the 16 by 16. It's my understanding that the Friends Group wants to use some of their reserves to really kickstart this, and then try to do some sort of fundraising campaign through the neighborhood, Marina Cove and East Pine Ridge. Seeing as this does not appear on the Marina Cove Park master plan, looking for a recommendation from this body for council as well, to accept this gift. And like I mentioned, it would be staff's recommendation to accept. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
We installed one of these last fall at our offices, and it's 40 by 18. And it's huge. It was about 35,000 installed.
Okay.
So this pricing looks really good to me. I would say go with the biggest option as possible.
Perfect. And yeah, so with Boland, they are actually who we got the shade structure at Leonard Park through as well. So, you know, for what it's worth, they've been great to work with. They've always been timely if we've had questions. And so we're looking at kind of the same materials, the same fastening. So, you know, we're not getting 2 different types. So we'll kind of know what we're getting into here. But all right. Thank you for that feedback, Darren.
I'm motion to approve the recommendation.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Perfect.
You got it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, anything else with this one? Next item is discuss Polk City 150 Park Challenge.
Yes, Yes, so this is something that Commission Member Turner brought up a couple months ago about capitalizing on the sesquicentennial that's coming this summer. So I'm going to introduce Allison Scheel. She is a recreation specialist within the Parks and Recreation Department. She started part-time at the beginning of the year. And she's kind of become my right-hand gal. So I asked her to kind of take this project and run with it. So I'm gonna invite her up here to kind of do a little presentation and get feedback from you guys.
There should be a presentation that shows on your monitors in a moment.
Yours is just pokey.
All right, can you all see that? Wonderful. All right, so like Jason mentioned, this is something that he shared with me was a desire brought to us from the commission. So this is just a short presentation about kind of the brainstorming concepts that we've had, kind of a little glimpse into each, as well as our recommendation is the end. And then if you have any feedback, we'd love to hear that at the end as well. All right, so this is just an overview of the 4 different ideas we kind of want to bring to you. The first is a traditional scavenger hunt around our park system, a trivia hunt, a photo bingo activity, or a passport event. The first of those, like I mentioned, was the traditional scavenger hunt. So this will be kind of exactly how you'd imagine it. We'd have clues and riddles that would guide participants from one park to the other, just trying to find the next one. I have an example as that last bullet there that you're welcome to decide if you can figure out where that might be, if you'd like to fancy yourself there. And then once participants find that final destination and solve the riddle, they could enter or win a prize or enter to win a prize if that's the route we'd like to go with our spending. I know there's not any formal budget for this, so it's kind of up to, whatever we'd like to see regarding what we'd like to spend there. And I have recommendations for that at the end as well. So this would just kind of look like a T-post with a laminated sheet on it, and it has a riddle on it, and then you'd read that, try to figure out where the next location is, hop all around town, explore our parks, and different things like that. I've already kind of brainstormed a few original clues that we could kind of put in there for each of our parks just to guide people around. And then, let's see. Next one. Oop. Getting ahead of myself there. All right, the next one is the trivia hunt. This would be trivia questions based on Polk City and its history, kind of tying back into that 150-year anniversary theme. We would have these around the different parks, similar to our scavenger hunt, but there's a question about Polk City's history, and they would have multiple choice answers from 1 to 4. Participants could take a picture with the signpost holding up the number of finger corresponding to the answer they think is correct. And then they can submit those photos kind of depending on how we'd like that to look on the back end. If we want everyone to submit everything, if we want to draw names and then they prove that they've, completed the activity and different things like that, should we like to include prizes as an incentive. And so that's what that could kind of look like. The locations we're looking at is pretty much all of our parks, including BB Cemetery, but omitting 12 Oaks. Just with the recent trail development there, we'd like to reduce foot traffic to make sure we have that grass growing well. We were hoping to possibly also partner with Big Creek Historical Society, make sure all of our information is accurate, and bring that into the picture since this is a huge thing for them as well, of course. So just making sure all of our facts are correct, and any input that they would have, we'd love to bring in as well. The next is photo bingo. This one does focus a little bit more on the parks rather than the history. So just kind of having them hop around different parks. Maybe they try out a different activity that is on a checklist or a grid format. And then they would just submit photo proof or video proof, whatever they'd like, of them completing those different activities, just to kind of boost awareness of the different activities we can offer in each park. Maybe they hit a volleyball at Kiwanis, or they cast a line at Marina, different things like that. So again, that is slightly less on the theme of 150, just another idea we'd like to throw out. All right. This last one is a little bit more intensive, but it is an idea nonetheless. This, tying into the theme, would be a 2.5-hour event, 150 minutes, bringing that in there. We could have staff or volunteers, or both, stationed at different parks around town. And maybe they have a unique stamp or sticker, and participants hop around those different parks, interact with them, whether it's completing an activity I've already mentioned, like volleyball at Kiwanis, or batting in the batting cage at the sports complex, and they get that sticker or stamp after completing that activity. We could have a few people stationed around sharing the history of how that park came to be. Maybe it's a fun fact about Polk City. I especially could see that happening at BB with a little bit more of that history piece. And so they would have that 2.5 hours to go around and complete all of these, or as many as they can. And then prizes could be presented to passports that are completed, or, a drawing of the completed ones, depending on what engagement looks like. And a fun little bonus option I like to include there, if we really want to go big and we want to tie in the theme more, staff or volunteers could dress like the 1870s if we have the resources to do that. Just a fun little idea there. Like I mentioned, we also have the idea of incentives through prizes, tying 150 right back in there with a total value of $150. One idea we had was having 6 $25 Creamery gift cards. Those always seem to go over well. And so that could be distributed to either the first 6 participants to complete the activity, whatever it may be, correctly answer the trivia if we go that route, or just 6 drawn names out of people who have completed whatever activity we choose to do. And then second, we know Gail had a conversation with Thelma's, and so we were curious if we'd like to go this route, if they would be willing to let us use 150 coupons to tie in that 150. We didn't know if that was something that had been brought up with your conversations with them, so we wanted to bring that as well. So that's kind of our idea there. If you have any comments, you're welcome to share now, or we can wait, whatever you
I
like.
didn't she was, Jen was really happy to help us out, and she said, how many would you need? And I said, I have no idea. So honestly, until I check with her again, I don't know just how big or small that would be. But
Okay.
they are more than happy to provide something,
Yeah.
for sure. So,
That would be lovely, thank you. All right, and then incorporating the theme in different ways. We could do all of these, none of these, some of these, whatever we'd like to do. So participant goal, maybe we want to reach at least 150 participants. If we have any printed deliverables, adding the 150-year logo. I know there's one been circulating around on t-shirts that are being sold, and on the Historical Pages Facebook page, and different things like that. If you want to tie in a time limit, like I mentioned, that 2.5 hours, 150 minutes, or 150 hours, 6 days, 6 hours, a little less even, but still an option nonetheless. Whether we have themed clues, referencing to different areas with the history of those parks. Themed trivia, of course, like I mentioned with the trivia option, about the past 150 years in our city's history. And then last, the prizes, if the prize value, the total value is 150, whether we choose to lump that and make one big grand prize to a lucky winner, or if it's distributed into those smaller increments, like we mentioned, the 6 $25 gift cards. This is just a logistical overview about how passive or active it might be with engagement, what potential costs could be, labor, and then if it requires staffing. I won't go through all of these. You're welcome to kind of glance at that as you will. Overall, there's definitely one that would stand out as being more intensive, perhaps more costs associated, that being the passport event. The others, it's about even as far as labor or printing costs or anything like that would go. So I wouldn't say there's any massive difference between those. And then our recommendation, we believe the trivia hunt would be the most on theme, connecting to the 150 years with that partnership, hopefully with Big Creek Historical Society, connecting to our history while still getting to explore our park system. Kickoff time for this would be great with starting it off at the Four Seasons Festival. That's right before July, and July is National Parks and Rec Month, which would be lovely to kind of tie those two together as they explore the parks and hopefully learn a little bit more about the town's history. And then we could allow the full month of July to complete it, allow them a lot of flexibility. We know schedules can get pretty busy in the summer sometimes with vacations or sports camps and different things like that. And then last, it is one of the most cost efficient options and one of the most engaging. We don't have to do a significant amount of labor or setup, and participants are still actively engaged in what they're doing rather than being more passive. And that is what I have for you guys today. So if you have any recommendations, any feedback, any questions, I'm happy to receive any of that.
Nice job.
Thank you.
On the trivia, which I like that idea also. It says something about T-posts. What would you be and
Yeah.
what would you be talking about? And, you know, would they hold up for a whole month? And
Yes, so this was actually something, back when I worked at a position in Cass County Conservation, they had a story walk. And so they took these T-posts, it's like rebars, I think some people call it, but just the little metal posts that are shaped in a capital T. You can punch holes into the paper that you have there and just zip tie around it. Super easy to assemble. It doesn't make a big imprint into the park. You can cover that, you know, tiny hole up pretty easily, and we can stake them wherever we'd like in a grassy area.
So they have some thing you're sliding that paper into to protect it from the elements?
What we did is we just laminated a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet, so it's weather protected. You know, it's only going to be out there for a month, so it doesn't need to be anything, you know, big and grand like a, you know, more permanent sign or anything like that. So temporary, easy to do, easy to place.
Okay.
Do you have T-posts within Parks and Rec already for anything, or would these need to be purchased?
We do have some out at Public Works that I'm sure we would be able to easily use, and there'd be more than enough from what I've seen.
Perfect.
I love the trivia idea, and I think unveiling it at Four Seasons and having it run through the month of July is fantastic. And I'd like the teaming with the Historical Society too. They would probably love to work with you
Yes.
guys on that, so. Seems like a good fit for a sesquicentennial celebration.
Yeah, I didn't try to say it.
I think if you do it where you turn the completed sheet in and then you just do a raffle of all the people that turn the completed sheets in, that'd probably be the easiest way personally than versus who's the first one in or.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and giving them a whole month to work with, because we'd kind of talked about that before, and with schedules and weather and everything else, a lot better odds of people maybe being able to hit actually most or all
Yes.
the parks too, so
Yeah, definitely.
I like it. Would there be more for us to do? Or is this something that would be your,
So it is pretty, you know, there's not too much labor that would go into it, but of course, I think we'd be happy to have any feedback on, you know, if we do the trivia option, what trivia we want included, if you, I don't know, want to volunteer time to help put them out, whatever, you know, I think engagement is pretty flexible as far as we're concerned.
I'd suggest some of the trivia questions relate back to why that park has that name. Because I would imagine, myself included, I don't know who Leonard was or Miller, you know, all the, and, you know, what, if, you know, if that would be one way to get the people to know, of the community know why that is called Leonard Park. And
Yeah. I
and
like
when the
that.
park was created, obviously. Some are much older than others, that's.
For sure. Any other questions or
Have
comments?
you talked to the Historical Society about this, or do they
I
know
have
we're
not had
thinking about
any
doing something like this, or?
We have
Conversations.
not engaged with the
Okay.
Historical Society yet on this.
So you're just looking for a motion
Or-
of
That's what I was
which
just
one?
gonna ask, do we need to,
Really, if you
Or
think we're
just-
on the right track, you know, then I think we'll kind of run with this idea.
Okay, yeah. Anybody?
I don't think there's a motion or anything here, just,
okay, yeah,
there's nobody that seemed to be really opposed, so.
No.
I think we'll be okay, so.
no, I think it's a great idea.
Great.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess you're back up with the Q1 2025 program cost.
Yeah,
recovery?
absolutely. So as per usual, going to highlight a quarter of the calendar year, January through March, kind of how we did with programs, attendance, cost recovery. Overall, I'm very pleased with quarter one of 2025. You can't see it on your sheet, but I did a little math on mine. In 2024, we had 267 total participants for this quarter. In 2025, we had 352. So that's a 31% increase. Very happy with that. And kind of looking through it, that's attributed to new programming. So for the youth, it was the Bricks for Kids. It was a little mini camp over spring break, 14 more kids. For the adults, it was our stretch and strengthen yogas that we offered, and the strong kind of high-intensity interval training classes. And all three of those were offered in this room. So very pleased that the community room is able to be used for Parks and Rec programming, and we're going to continue to use it the best we can. So very excited about exploring this new space, what we can do in here. And then kind of breaking it down, the youth, 115% cost recovery overall, very happy with that. The one little outlier there was the Dinky Dunker girls at 81%. But truthfully for, kind of in my final analysis down there, we're looking for 70 to 100, so 81 still is in the range. But no, that is designed for kindergarten girls, and gosh darn it, we just only had 14 girls. So maybe just a little bit of extra marketing in the future for that particular age group. And then with the adult, 116% cost recovery. Everything fell in line there of being 100% or more. So all were profitable. Senior programming, nothing for this quarter in terms of trips. That's going to be pretty consistent based on what I've heard from my regulars. It's just hard. When it's cold, it's icy, just getting around that time of year is tough. So we'll typically do our last of the year in December. And then probably the first one of a new calendar year will be in April. So we did have one in April that did go, and that'll be included on the quarter two cost recovery. But with that, happy to answer any questions about quarter one, but overall, staff is pretty pleased with the growth and the cost recovery.
You're up again, director's report.
All right, I've got a few things for you guys this evening. As Justin mentioned, the Miller Park resurfacing project, we are scheduled with pro, track, and tennis out of Lincoln, Nebraska. They should be here next week. We imagine the courts will be closed about 4 to 5 days, and then we will be up and operational again. So excited for that. As with anything, it is a little bit weather dependent, but that is the plan, that you should see action starting at Miller Park next week. I wanted to give you guys an update on 12 Oaks Phase 2. That did include some of the rock placement around the pond, the trail being completed through. All of that has been done. I'm very pleased with the way that the trail turned out. Now we're just trying to reestablish all of the grass that we disturbed. So not going great right now, but we're going to keep working at it and get that back. So if you haven't been over there and kind of walked that trail through the park, I would entirely invite you to. I think it's a really pretty walk through the park now, and all of it on a hard surface. You don't have to off-road it anymore. I also wanted to give you guys an update on the Woodhaven neighborhood trail connection to the Neil Smith Trail. This is about at 300 Woodhaven in terms of address. We finally got everything we needed from the Army Corps to connect to the Neil Smith at that location. Right now, we are doing this project in-house. We have graded it, we are putting up form boards, and we anticipate pouring this week perhaps, or next week out there. So that is about 225 linear feet of 10-foot trail that, yeah, again, will connect from the sidewalk to the Neil Smith Trail. So another neighborhood connection here in Polk City. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention during this part is the Mayor's Municipal Park Committee wrapped up last month. They will be making their recommendation to council June 9th, week from today, at their work session, 5 p.m. And I would invite everyone from the commission to attend and see what that committee has come up with. On that, any questions about any of those 4 things? A lot going on right now, exciting time.
I have a question about the court resurfacing,
Yes,
being a pickleball addict.
yes.
Are they doing, what's it gonna end up looking like?
Sure, so, sorry, let me do something real quick for you here, Gail.
Are you gonna draw a picture?
I am.
I can visualize if you want to just tell me.
Okay. So here we have the Miller Park Tennis Court as a full. The 2 squiggly lines are the existing tennis nets. And 1, 2, 3, 4 will be the pickleball courts that are put on there. So we will have pickleball nets available on site for people to put up, but we will have 4 pickleball courts available.
And the tennis nets stay in place, so you'll have 2 tennis courts
Correct.
and/or, okay.
Yes, and the thought behind this is just, again, maximizing what we have there, but also that tennis net acts as a really great divide
Yeah, it does.
between.
It stops the balls.
Yep, exactly.
And then, so the pickleball nets will just be right there to just take out and use, or do you have to?
Yes, still trying to figure out the proper way to make sure they don't wander away, but we will make some available. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome.
How that was gonna work. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Nick, you're up.
Okay, it's been a while since we've had a meeting, so there's been a little bit that council has gone through. So I'll just try to blaze through some of these. Council has adopted the FY '26 budget, which begins July 1st. We actually had to do that twice due to a newspaper error. Minor thing, but we had to go back through the process again. Trail construction on South 3rd Street that connects Southside Drive up to just north of Pine Ridge Drive was completed in the timeframe since we last met. We approved a contract for the Oak City Junction Trail, Phase 7, which is the portion that will go from Pixstar down through that newly acquired lease land, Army Corps lease land, and connect to Neil Smith on the south side. What else do we have? City staff, Public Works completed a streets and sidewalk inventory. You may or may not have heard that last year, the Iowa Supreme Court shifted liability from residents to the city for any accidents that might happen on sidewalks as a result of ill maintenance. So the city is now responsible for the liability on that, and this inventory is the first step towards trying to figure out how we can send out notice to homeowners for repairs. We are working on setting up a joint traffic study with Ankeny, Polk County, Iowa DOT, and Allure at Saylorville for a traffic study at that 415 and 44th intersection, southeast of town. We did a structural assessment on the schoolhouse, and that came back with the building actually being in great shape and really only minor cosmetic things that need to be done to the exterior. And council's going to go ahead and get a lot of this done. We've had a couple retirements. Deputy Chief Zach Dunham retired from the fire department after 7 years of service. Captain Tanner Owen was promoted to the deputy chief position. Steve Nowak retired from the fire department as well after 25 years of service. And of course, Hugh Doris has been retired from the police department. What I have is the police department summer kickoff is next Friday, or this Friday, excuse me. That will be done in conjunction with a movie in the park. One or two. And then we also have Four Seasons Festival at the end of this month, which you all should know about. Doing it a month earlier this year.
Any questions for Nick? Anything else from anyone?
Actually, that made me kind of think of something, Nick, but not for you, for Jason and Allison. Are we gonna have a presence at the Four Seasons Festival to kick off the park challenge then? Or has that been a part of the discussion at all? How are we gonna
We could,
unveil?
I have a meeting with Go Polk City this week. Again, they're kind of the presenting entity of that, not the city of Polk City. I could see if we could get some sort of vendor presence there, letting people know of this. In which case, then I could see more involvement from the commission if you'd like. But yeah, I think that would probably be a good idea if we could secure that space.
Yeah,
On top of that, the involvement of my department is really some of the activities that happen at the festival itself. There's a cornhole tournament, there's caveman golf.
okay.
So yeah, I kind of bring some of the fun stuff. But yeah, I think we could have an opportunity to have some information for this.
Yeah. Okay. So will we direct things, will Allison work with us? We work with you, you work with, how do you wanna?
I'd say the commission can work directly through me. And
Okay,
I'll delegate as needed to Allison. So.
okay.
Okay. If nothing else, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Tim, may I make
Yes.
one more?
Yes.
Staff? I just wanted to recognize, last Wednesday, it was the 8th grade cleanup day here in Polk City. So the North Polk class of 2029 came and spent most of the day, mulching and weeding. So I'm sure you saw small armies of children out
Yep.
and about in our park system. So yeah, just wanted to thank again the class of 2029, Principal John Richards for working with me, and the entire 8th grade staff that kept the kids in line and eyes on the prize that day. So they get a lot of work done in a short amount of time. It's pretty amazing. That's all.
All right. Now, a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All righty. We shall adjourn.